But please help me welcome the James B. Dudley High School Marching Band. Wow. I know you can do better than that. Come on. Welcome to the 37th Annual MLK Memorial Breakfast. My name is Jose Oliva, and I serve as Chief of Staff for Guilford County Schools, serving 70,000 students and 10,000 employees. It is truly an honor to be here with you today. I think our friends got here a little bit earlier. That's okay. Before the chorus, I want to share a few things with you. Greensboro is a real special place for so many of you. And it is a special place for me. Today, in fact, marks my 12th anniversary in the United States. And Greensboro has been my home for all of those years. And what has kept me here are the people here in Greensboro, because the people of Greensboro are not the people who sit around and wait things to happen. The people in Greensboro are people who make things happen. Do you agree? So as we reflect today and recognize and strive to continue the legacy of Dr. King, I think it is important to know that we can all do great things in our community. We can use our voice, we can use our time, and we can use our resources in the service of others. So in light of the marching band's performance, I think it is only right to recognize one of those champions. Born into slavery, James Benson Dudley went on to be... Yes, please. He went to become the second president of the North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. Okay, let me repeat that. He went to become the second president of the North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. And in 1929, almost 100 years ago, the first black high school in Greensboro, and one that has stood proudly at the center of the civil rights movement, was named after him. So we will hear from Dudley just in a little bit. But I would like to recognize our volunteer ushers. They are members of the Kappa Lambda chapter of the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, Inc. This year, they are celebrating their 100th anniversary. Dr. King was an active member of the Alpha Phi Alpha as well as the Sigma Pi Phi fraternities. Let's thank our ushers for their service with another round of applause. Now, I would like to take a moment to recognize all of our elected officials in the room. If you're serving as an elected official, please stand so we can recognize you. And now, help me welcome the James B. Dudley High School Chorus to lead us in singing the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Good morning. Please rise and join us for the 3 verses of Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Every voice and sing, till
I would like now to invite a very familiar face to the stage, our Mayor, Mayor Nancy Vaughn.
Thank you, Jose. Good morning, beautiful Greensboro. I want to thank you all for getting up early on this special day and joining us in the Everyday Champions, our very first class of honoring local human rights pioneers. It is my pleasure to be here and to bring welcome on behalf of the City of Greensboro. I do want to thank our Human Rights Department for putting on one of the best events all year as we honor Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King. I would like to ask my colleagues and friends on table 4 to please stand and be recognized. Our City Council members, Dr. Goldie Wells, Councilman Hugh Holston, Councilwoman Tammy Thurm, and Councilwoman Mary Kay Abuzawader. I'd also like to recognize our City Manager, Ty Jaoba, who is just about approaching his one-year anniversary, Assistant City Manager Larry Davis, and I saw Assistant City Manager Nasha McCrae. Thank you all, and I'd like to bring a special notice to our brand new police chief. Chief Thompson, if you would please stand and be recognized. Thank you. So it is my pleasure to talk about last year's winners of the Morningside Awards. For those of you who are unaware of this relatively new award, when the City of Greensboro in 2020 came up with, I thought, was a substantial apology for the events that happened in 1979, we decided that we didn't want to just put it in a drawer and move on, but that we wanted to really recognize it. So there are 5 different award winners, and those 5 represent each of the individuals who were killed that day. The amount of the award is $1,979, representing 1979. We have a wonderful group of young people from Dudley High School. This is an award that is available for graduating seniors at Dudley High School. And what the I don't want to say competition, but what we asked for was a message on social justice. It could be an essay, it could be a song, it could be a video, it could be a spoken word, whatever it is that speaks to them, that would speak to us about social justice. So the City of Greensboro Morningside Award is given annually to 5 graduates of James B. Dudley High School in member of Caesar Chaussee, Dr. James Waller, William Evan Sampson, Sandra Neely Smith, and Dr. Michael Nathan, whose lives were claimed tragically in the Greensboro Massacre of 1979. The 5 graduates are selected to receive the award based on their commitment to move the cause of social justice and equity. So at this point, we have a brief video. If we could roll the video.
On October 6, 2020, Greensboro City Council issued a historic apology to the Morningside Homes community for the complicity of Greensboro police in the 1979 Greensboro Massacre. City Council also stated that 5 awards in the amount of $1,979 would be granted to graduating Dudley High School students in the names of the 5 people killed in the massacre: Caesar Chaussee, Dr. James Waller, William Evan Sampson, Sandra Neely Smith, and Dr. Michael Nathan. Samuel Francis. Milan Fox. Mason Smith. Kiesha Monroe. And Delaney Jarman.
I think our future is in good hands. These awards are judged on future academic goals that address the issues of discrimination, disparity, and inequity, future employment goals that will contribute to the lives of others in ways that work towards the elimination of inequities or disparities, and future entrepreneurial goals that contribute to the betterment of the lives of marginalized population. Again, the 5 award winners were Samuel Francis, Milan Fox, Mason Smith, Kiesha Monroe, and Delaney Jarman. All 5 were awarded and recognized at the Human Rights Celebration last June. They show exceptional promise and commitment in advancing civil rights. So let's give them another round of applause. To see what they can do to be a part of this award process. The reason why we chose Dudley was because it was nearest to Morningside and was in the Dudley footprint. In closing, I would like to thank Dudley High School and Principal Timmons McLaughlin. Principal, are you here? If you would stand. Thank you for your Thank you for your hard work and for allowing us to do these awards through Dudley, and that marching band is great. What a wonderful way to wake up, isn't it? So in closing, I want to say thank you. I appreciate that everybody got up early this morning, put on our best smiles, and we are going to have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Bond. Couldn't agree more. I think our future is in good hands. In celebration of Dr. King, he believed in the power of interfaith unity. I would like to introduce Reverend Vicki McCain, the pastor at the Presbyterian Church of the Cross. She will offer a prayer of unity in keeping with Dr. King's dream. Reverend McCain is an A&T graduate and was, did I hear something? Okay, let's do it one more time. Reverend McCain is an A&T graduate and was Greensboro Urban Ministries' first clinical pastoral education chaplain, and currently volunteers with numerous local organizations. Please help me welcome Reverend McCain.
Good morning. Certainly this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be happy in this day for certain. Dr. King once said, and I quote, "No individual can live alone. No nation can live alone. A world can live alone, or anyone who feels he can live alone is sleeping through a revolution." Change is taking place all over the world. The world we live in is geographically one. The great challenge now is to make it one in terms of brother and sisterhood. We must all learn to live together as brothers and sisters, or we will perish together as fools. What affects one directly affects all indirectly. We are all tied together in the single garment of destiny. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be, and you can never be what you ought to be until you and I ought to be. This is the way God's universe is made. This is the way that it is structured. You see, a cornerstone of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s fight is equality by unity. The idea that we live in a worldly hood, yet we have not made the commitment to make it a brother/sisterhood. The thought is that we need to come together if anything is to be accomplished. You see, my brothers and my sisters, we are chosen for such a time as this. We've been chosen, we've been pruned, we've been set aside, we've been appointed to bring about a change, to usher in with a new boldness, to gain a better understanding and an appreciation for our neighbors inside and outside of our community. It is time for us to reflect on humanity and the common decency and mutual respect that has been lost in our society. You see, it is time to heal the hearts and the souls of those who are suffering from mistreatment and injustice. My brothers and my sisters, it is time to give freely of our time and our talents to make our community a better place for all people. I say for all people because so that you know and understand that together we can ensure that everyone can complete this life race with dignity and respect. There is a calling, a mission originated and set in motion by God's using ordinary people like you and like me. A calling, something that cannot be explained but must be responded to. Franklin Eugene McCain, one of the Greensboro Four, once said, "There will be certain things that you are uniquely suited for, that no one else can do, that will impact other people positively." So ask yourself, what is it that you are uniquely suited for that will change someone's life or could possibly change history? Yes, there was a movement in the 1960s, and it continues in 2023. We are still trying to unite and stand up and cry out for justice, equality, and human decency. What are you uniquely suited for? And there is a call, and that call is to be responded to. So think about, what would the world look like if we answered the call with love? That's where it all begins. So as you move forward in your life, in your day, in the months and the years, ask yourself, am I called to love my brothers and sisters and to treat everyone the way in which I want to be treated? But whatever you are uniquely suited for, remember, answer the call and do it with love. Amen. I would ask you now to bow your heads for prayer. God of many names, we ask that you look with compassion, not only just this community, but look with compassion on the whole world. Unite us as brothers and sisters, and allow us to hear your call and to respond with love. Help us, God, to keep in mind how very good and pleasant it is when kindred, brothers and sisters, siblings live together in unity. Bless us, God, as we move forward. And now I ask that you bless this food for the nourishment and the strengthening of our bodies, and allow us as we fellowship one with another to remember those who are hungry, to remember those who are homeless. And God, we give you thanks, because certainly if you take care of the little bitty birds, you surely will take care of all of us. Help us to move together as one. In your name we pray. Amen and amen. At this time, I would like to reintroduce to you the Dudley Chorus. Let's give them a hand clap as they come.
Walking with my face turned to the sun, weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going into a brand new home. Far river, you hear freedom calling me to answer. I keep on moving on. I can feel it in my bones. Early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, gonna start moving towards the separating line. I'm wading through muddy waters. You know I gotta make up mind. And I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. And I'll find fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. River, do you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. And I know what's ever been might be hard to face 'cause I'm young. And I just might fall, but as I try, she starts filling the sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home.
Hello, hello. Now it is time to hear from our keynote speaker. Nikita Green is the Chief Inclusion Officer at Cone Health. Throughout her career, she has been a compassionate change agent. Her professional career and personal life have been both marked by service to the community. Her professional experiences include leadership in the areas of family self-sufficiency, human services, talent development, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. In her current role, she leads diversity, equity, and inclusion strategies to foster inclusion for over 13,000 employees and thousands of patients at Cone Health. She recently worked as Vice President of Leadership, Diversity, and Inclusion at the Chamber of Commerce, where she launched the Scale to Excel program and led a minority business accelerator, Leadership Greensboro, and a new diversity and inclusion policy for the Chamber. Nikita has received multiple awards in recognition of her work, including the 2021 Triad Business Journal Outstanding Women in Business, the 2022 Denise Maliska Leadership Impact Award, and the 2022 United Way of Greater Greensboro Centennial Volunteer Award. Nikita is an alumna of our very own North Carolina A&T State University. I see you, you're getting there. Where she graduated with a bachelor's degree in psychology, while later completing a Master of Public Administration degree at North Carolina Central University. Okay, a little competition, that's healthy. Where she developed a passion for leveraging community and organizational leadership to create lasting impact. So please help me welcome Nikita Green.
Good morning, good morning. You all look really good from up here. I got to see a few people as you all were coming in, but everybody looks really good from up here, especially the tables of Spring 98, Greensboro alumni. Y'all look especially good. So it is absolutely a privilege to be here. The program has been amazing thus far. I have thoroughly enjoyed Dudley and all of their talented students in particular. We also are very fortunate to be able to have this kind of event in our community in general. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to commemorate the legacy of Dr. King, but also to come together as a community and be inspired and figure out ways in which we can continue that legacy. So I want to thank the City of Greensboro Human Rights Department for convening us here today and for creating this space for us to reflect on the powerful legacy of Dr. King, as well as the local heroes in our community. So I want to thank especially Dr. Love Jones, Jody Stanley, and Marion Davis, and the Human Rights Commission, really for your vision, for your passion, and tremendous effort to put this event together. Thank you for giving me the opportunity as well to be a part of this. And there would definitely be no event without all of you, so thank you so much for bringing your light and your energy, especially on an early Monday morning. So I want to acknowledge and thank my colleagues that are here, my friends that are here, my sorors of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and especially my family for coming from a long way to support this event and me as well. So I want to, if you will just give me just a quick moment, I want to tell you why this morning and the last few weeks has been really surreal for me. I grew up in a small town in North Carolina, and I live with my grandmother, who was extremely passionate about civil rights and the contributions of Black people in our community and in our country. So realistically, I can't remember a time when I didn't know about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the civil rights movement. This was really formal education in my home. It's what we talked about at dinner. But what was also unique is the community that I grew up in here in North Carolina is also the birthplace of the environmental justice movement in the whole country. And so as a very young elementary student, I was at SCLC meetings, at NAACP meetings, NAACP meetings, at PAC meetings. I was also marching. 7 years old, I was marching and protesting the dumping of PCBs in my rural community, my rural and predominantly Black community. I was watching older family and community members physically use their bodies to block dump trucks from coming into our landfills. So I was also very much a child of the local movement in that my grandmother was a voter registrar as well, when that was even a thing. And so I remember many times going door to door with her or going to community events for her to register people to vote. My cousin and I always knew exactly what we would be doing on Election Day. We'd be getting off of the school bus at the polls to pass out sample ballots. So equity, inclusion, this has always been a part of my life from the very beginning. And realistically, I say all of this because it's really a surreal moment for me to be here and speaking to you at this event. So while I know that my grandmother she is not here, I know that she is beaming at the idea that I'm here to talk with you at this event to honor Dr. Martin Luther King, but also everyday champions, just like my grandmother, who do the good work in their communities every day. Thank you. So I want to honor and I want to hold space for champions who've come before us, from those who we know very well, like Dr. King, but also everyday champions whose names we don't know, but who have yet and still created a pathway for us, one that we can turn into possibility today. I also want to show gratitude for the champions who will be recognized today. I have to give a special shout out to my former coworker, Joyce Gorham-Worsley. Joyce is a pistol if you know her, but she also, I'm so happy to see you being recognized because Joyce is very much a connector. She uses what she has, whatever resources she has, all of the time to create an opportunity for someone else, and she does not want or need any honor for that. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here, that you all have an opportunity to celebrate local champions like Joyce and all of our heroes that we are acknowledging today. Cheers to all of you, and I'm happy to see you all get your flowers today. So we can look at the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s remarkable legacy and agree that his contribution was extensive. He was a truth teller, an organizer, a community builder, a beacon of hope, a believer, a torchbearer, a dreamer, an inspiration. He was persistent. He was spiritual, he was compassionate, courageous, and like the song, he was a tree planted by the water. There is no doubt that what he gave then still ripples for our benefit today. The example that he set, the framework that he created is still necessary and useful to us today. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. unified a people and a nation toward one purpose. Our local civil rights leaders also light a flame of inspiration for our city and for our region. They have no doubt done great things. The city of Greensboro in general is a very special place, and we benefit from wide diversity here. We speak over 120 languages just right here in Greensboro. We have young minds come to our city from across the country. They meet us here at our 7 colleges and universities. We have the #1 public HBCU right here in the heart of Greensboro. We Aggies, we always have to let y'all know that. And we have one of only 2 historically black colleges for women right here in this community. We have a rich history of revolution in Greensboro. Our community has long been defenders of human rights. The Underground Railroad running right through our city, the A&T 4 sparking a new movement alongside students at Dudley and Bennett, Lonnie Revels, who made sure the Lumbee people and their culture was preserved and recognized, Dr. Simpkins and all the doctors who said enough is enough, and in so doing desegregated health care not just here but across the country. We're no strangers to champions in Greensboro. So I'm here to hopefully encourage you, as I encourage myself, that we can all be champions today. We don't always have to just look back. We too have the power to create ripples in one's life, to spark hope in those that we encounter, and leave a whole harvest in the field for each other, in the words of a friend of mine, L.D. Bennett. When we consider a giant like Dr. King, we can see his great ability and his power. And I challenge us to see that in ourselves too. I hope that we will use the inspiration of Dr. King and our local champions to tap into that same power within us. So let's align on what it means to be a champion. It probably goes without saying, when I say champion, we all think of the 4-time Celebration Bowl winning football team at North Carolina A&T. But our minds, realistically, our minds usually, when we think of the word champion, our mind usually goes to people like human rights advocates like Dr. King. But we can agree that champion is something that we can be, but champion is also something that we can do. The verb champion means uphold, advocate, challenge, support, defy, endorse. When we hear those behaviors of champion, it probably sounds a lot more approachable than thinking about becoming a whole civil rights leader. You've probably been in a situation where you've had to advocate for someone before, or to uphold something that was important, or defy something that was harmful. Dr. King set a tremendous example of championing. He championed for integration and for equity and for economic opportunity. And our local heroes in our city have stepped up and championed human rights as well. But we still have work to do. We still have to fully realize Dr. King's dream as well. The community that we're in today, although our city is beautiful, it still has many challenges. We still need people to champion. We have many issues that still need to be addressed, like affordable housing, access to health care and healthy food, equitable economic opportunity, safe communities, talent attraction, and social justice. Again, we have a wonderful city, and still, there is plenty to do. And when I look at the people in this room, we absolutely have the resources to do it. There are people in this room that have jobs and roles and positions in the community that we can all agree are pretty important. There are also probably people here who have no idea just how important they really are. And wherever you fall in that, I'm telling you that there's something that we can do, something that we can all champion. James Baldwin is one of my favorites, and he said, "The interior life is a real life. The intangible dreams of people have a tangible effect on the world." Or consider Proverbs 18:16. "A person's gift makes room for them and brings them before great people." When we look at local champions in our history and in our present, they have gifts, they possess power, and they use it. So let's consider some of those powers of champions. What does it look like when we are being champions? What examples can we find today and in our history? Let's look at the power first of, in the example of 4 champions that we all know very well in this city. I've definitely always been fascinated by and deeply inspired by the A&T 4. For one, because I still think it's very remarkable that they were 18 and 19, and I know just how young that is. I remember how young that is. By their own account, most people thought that they were crazy. Some people thought that what they were doing was a fad. I can imagine, though, the amount of thoughtfulness and courage that it required for them to just decide to go sit in on the first day alone. Because what they were deciding was to defy an entire system, the enduring and punishing system of segregation. And I know that you all know this story. They didn't just go the first day, they continued day after day. Because the power of champions is that they are unrelenting and they press forward knowing that there will be opposition. And it wasn't just 4 of them, as you all know. Similar sit-ins proliferated across the South, and the movement became national because champions have the power to light a flame in others. And looking back on that movement, Franklin McCain Sr. gave the advice that I love: never request permission to start a revolution, because champions because champions are self-starters. So there's a lot of power, a lot that we can learn from the example of the A&T 4. We know their significance, not just for Aggies, but for all of us across the country. But we have many other examples as well to pull from and understand the power and quality of champions. So I want to look at 2 other champions in particular that struck me recently as I spent some time learning about their contributions. And thinking about the powers that champions possess, I couldn't help but to think about one of our local heroes in particular. Champions use their power to turn challenges into triumphs for themselves and for others. I see this in Addie Jeffrey. I heard about her advocacy for parents, especially of intellectually and developmentally disabled children. So I knew about that, but I only recently learned when I attended an NCCJ event that Addie Jeffrey was the champion who sparked the breast density law in North Carolina in 2013. She experienced breast cancer and all that came with that. And she knew that that should have been detected by mammography earlier. She also realized that countless other women would be impacted in the same way that she was. And she decided that that was unacceptable. So she and the Commission on the Status of Women lobbied our state government and worked together to craft what would become the legislation that continues to save the lives of women today. That is absolutely champion behavior. Champions often wield their power and show up as grace under fire. And I couldn't help but to think about Dr. Melvin Swan. He's a longtime educator, principal, and deputy superintendent. It is said that he could talk to anyone and get anyone to listen. I would love that quality. He said also that is evident when you consider his incredible work. The system brought students once segregated by race into schools together, but Dr. Swan had the very, very difficult job of actually unifying those students, something that he approached very thoughtfully, meticulously, and gracefully. He had to bring calm to parents fearful of their students being bused. He stamped out a brewing race riot among students, And were that not enough in a man's career, he also helped to facilitate the very contentious work of later merging 3 completely different school systems. Dr. Swan was a peacekeeper, but he also had to be a peace bringer in order to make all of that happen. That also is champion behavior. One really important power that champions possess. Champions have the power to make people feel seen. And so while you all might know the name Addie Jeffrey and you might know Dr. Swan, I want to talk about someone who is very important to me, who you won't know. My son, as a young black man, has the paradoxical experience of being hyper-surveilled, but also at times not seen for who he really is, just by virtue of him being black. In spite of that, he channels his experiences and his compassion and makes people who are made invisible in this community feel seen. From age 4 up until now, he has cared about people who experience homelessness, given his own food, money, umbrellas. He has called me at work and asked me to get an umbrella out of my car, even for someone that he saw. He's come home shoeless and coatless plenty of times. And what's unique is how he does it. He doesn't hand people things out of the window of his car. He parks, he walks up to them, he talks to them, and asks them what they need. It's important to him that he give people the humanity that they deserve and ask what they need. I had to ask him if he was okay with me even sharing this, because he has never posted about this on social media. He's never told a soul himself, and he doesn't want the recognition. He's adamant about not being praised for it at all. But this is something that is simply in him, and it is absolutely champion behavior. I'm immensely proud of you, son. So you see, we can be powerful as champions whether or not we are Dr. King. There are a number of different ways that we can champion. And we face a time in our city that still needs champions. There are issues that still need to be championed. There's history that still needs to be made, and many things that we can still fight for today. So many people who need your power and your purpose and your energy to manifest now. We can all look at Dr. King and agree that he did something significant. No, we can't all be Dr. King, but we can all still be champions. My grandmother used to say, "Your foot don't fit no limb." And when that was said to me on a Saturday morning, I knew that that meant that I needed to get my butt up out of the bed and get to those chores. But I was a full-grown adult before I ever contemplated what that meaning of her metaphor really was. Were I a bird, I could perch my feet on a tree branch and peacefully watch the day go by. But because I am not, my foot didn't belong on that branch, and it was my job to get to work. So since your foot doesn't fit a limb either, that means that there is something in your workplace, in your worship place, in your neighborhood, there is something that you can champion. We will absolutely move past this breakfast and this day of remembrance, and we can so easily get caught up in the million things competing for our attention. So let's take a moment now really quickly and reflect on what it is that we will do and how we will perpetuate Dr. King's legacy of service, of equity, and of justice. Take a moment now to think about who you are. Think about what it is that you do. Take a moment to consider the abilities that you have, the advantage that you have, and the influence that you yield. Think about it now while we're here. Reflect on it now while we're together. Can you galvanize your department, your church group, your book club? Can you raise the consciousness of your peers or your boss on an issue that matters to you most? Can you share your story of survival with someone who needs to hear it? Can you invest in or contract services from a historically marginalized business? Can you use your position to advocate for someone else? Can you support and make space for a young activist or young leader with a passion and will to work? How can you use who you are and what you have and what you know? Maybe you and I won't spark a national movement, but we can encourage a stranger. Even if we don't spark a whole new law, we can vote and hold our local politicians accountable or speak up at a council meeting. Whether or not we build peace across a divided school district, we can be the peace that someone needs when they're in the middle of a storm. Martin Luther King said, "No work is insignificant. All labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence." Greensboro is a wonderful community, but we can't rest on our laurels. We can't allow it to be amazing for some and a constant struggle for others. We can't ignore the call of advocacy. We can't ignore the call of advocacy that whispers and sometimes shouts at all of us. We know Dr. King's dream, but our community needs us to consider what is ours. My hope is that by hearing about the everyday champions that we have locally and by reflecting on Dr. King's legacy, you can turn your dream into an action today. I challenge us all to take up space as it relates to equity, to build a legacy not just for ourselves, but also for someone else. Martin Luther King Jr. exhorts us today with his words. We are now faced with the fact that tomorrow is today. We are confronted with the fierce urgency of now. You and I may not be Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but we can be champions for someone today. In his own words, you only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. Thank you so much.
Wow. Tomorrow is today. Please give another round of applause to our keynote speaker. So now the moment that many of you have been waiting for, and it is the recognition of our everyday champions. For the first time in the MLK Memorial Breakfast history, we recognize 5 deserving champions. To qualify, nominees had to demonstrate substantial contributions to our community. And there was a committee of 6 volunteers from the MLK Planning Committee that reviewed and rated nominations and selected our finalists. So the first awardee is someone very special to me, and I will tell you why in a little bit. James Chills. He is an educator, a historian, and a community activist. Through the generosity of the Bonner Foundation and his alma mater, Guilford College, hundreds of young people, mostly living in the margins of society, were given the opportunity to receive a college education as Bonner Scholars. Bonner Scholars complete 2,000 hours of service during their college career and deeply engaged in systems-level change work. James successfully directed the Bonner Center for more than 2 decades. I think that deserves a round of applause. he conducted anti-racism workshops and effectively highlighted landmarks in Greensboro, such as the Underground Railroad, the site of the Greensboro Massacre, and the Blvd Community Center. James' training and mentorship also raised up the next generation of leaders in our community. People like Jose Bernal, Vun Casor, Hector Suarez, Jada Drew, Sonny and Christy Matthews, and others. I'm grateful to have been one of the many students that James mentored, and it has been a pleasure working with him for many, many years now. So please stand up so you can be recognized. I think Jody is going to give him a little token of appreciation. And our next everyday champion, I will turn this way, she technically is my boss a little bit here, so help me here and make sure you applaud. No, our next awardee is someone that is very familiar to many of you. Dianne Bellamy Small. She has been an advocate for underserved people throughout her career. She's well known as a singer and African-American storyteller, and is a member of the St. Matthew's United Methodist Church. Amen. She has mentored countless of people, including 3 sons and 14 grandchildren. Dianne has served as a manager with the North Carolina Department of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, and a teacher for the Guilford County Schools. She has also taught GED classes at the Guilford Technical Community College. Dianne served on the Greensboro City Council for 10 years and has represented District 1 on the Guilford County Board of Education. Her list of contributions include leadership and support for the Greensboro Aquatic Center, Learn to Swim program, the Guilford County Family Justice Center, the Ruth Wicker Tribute to Women of Greensboro, the Interactive Resource Center, the Women Resource Center, and the Transition Network Reentry Services. That's a very long list. Please stand up and help me give her a round of applause. Congratulations. The next person, if you have gone through the Other Voices program, she will be familiar to you. That is Joyce Gorham-Worsley. She came to Greensboro to attend the University of North Carolina at Greensboro, and then joined the Greensboro Chamber of Commerce in 2004, and today serves as the Vice President of the Other Voices Diversity Leadership Program. She previously managed the Chamber's Leadership Greensboro program. Joyce has served on the UNCG Boards of Visitors, as well as the Board of Directors of the Greensboro Housing Coalition, the American Red Cross, and Community Ventures. She's also a proud member of the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Did I hear something there? One of her favorite quotes comes from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who wrote, "We are prone to judge success by the index of our salaries or the size of our cars, rather than by the quality of service and relationship to humanity." Joyce, please stand up so you can be recognized. Congratulations. Next is the chairman of the Guilford County Board of County Commissioners, Mr. Skip Alston. Commissioner Alston learned of Dr. King's work as a 10-year-old when he watched Dr. King's funeral on television with his parents. Since that day, Commissioner Alston has been committed to continuing Dr. King's work and vision as a civil rights activist. Commissioner Alston moved to Greensboro from Durham in 1979. He started his own real estate company, which has been a very successful business, and he presided over both the state and Greensboro branches of the NAACP, and has served on the National Organizations Board. A Guilford County Commissioner for 25 years, Commissioner Alston also was the co-founder of the International Civil Rights Center and Museum and organized the very first MLK Day Parade and the MLK Gospel Fest, both long-running events for many years. He successfully led the effort to rename Ashborough Street in Greensboro in honor of Dr. King. And something that was not included in the bio provided to me, but I think is worth highlighting, is that Commissioner Alston was very instrumental, and when I say very instrumental, I mean very instrumental, in the passage of the $1.7 billion school bond to fix and repair our public school facilities. And for those who don't know, this was the largest investment in the school facilities in the history of North Carolina and one of the largest in the country. So with the permission of the superintendent and on behalf of 70,000 students and 10,000 employees, I want to say thank you. Thank you for not only being an everyday champion, but thank you for being a champion for public education. So please stand so you can be recognized, Chairman. Congratulations. And the last awardee of tonight is someone that many of you will remember, Reverend Dr. T. Anthony Spearman. He moved to North Carolina after being ordained and ministered here until his passing last July. Dr. King's assassination was a pivotal moment in Dr. Spearman's development as a civil rights advocate and led to a life manning the front lines in the fight for justice. He was a champion for justice-involved individuals in the LGBTQ community and a critic of discrepancies in the criminal justice system. Dr. Spearman helped establish early voting precincts and championed the use of paper ballots as part of the Guilford County Board of Elections. He was elected president of the North Carolina NAACP in 2017 and was a keynote speaker for this very same event back in 2018. Last February, the North Carolina Council of Churches named him a community superstar. I was just speaking with his sister earlier today, and I was sharing with her that he was famous for calling people before 8 a.m. with some sort of issue happening in the community. You know, sometimes he would say, we need to send lawyers, or we need to call someone, or you need to get that elected official on the phone, and he dedicated so many years for the fight of civil rights, not just in Greensboro, but in North Carolina. Dr. King and Dr. Spearman had many similarities. They were both ministers and led civil rights organizations. They were committed to ending discrimination and believed all people should be treated equally with dignity and respect. I would like to ask Cynthia Spearman Hall, Reverend Spearman's sister, to stand in his place as we recognize him for his service to Greensboro. Thank you. I know you all don't want to leave. We have one more act. So we always anticipate spoken word performances by the Poetry Project, and this year is no different. Please help me welcome Sanjita Soria de Vera to the stage.
We live in a world that's running a race, speeding through a track at a cutthroat pace. As we progress into tomorrow's lane, we care mostly about our individual place. Yet this track we run on is poorly made, uneven, and unequal. But what can we do? So we turn a blind eye to those falling behind, to the voices screaming for help, to those who simply cannot run. I grew up thinking this too. For what could I do? A teenage girl, the only Indian in the classroom, the odd one out, running not to win, but to simply catch up. To be honest with you, I am extremely nervous right now. I feel out of place on this stage. I'm usually scared to speak in front of 10 people. I'm scared because I'm different than you. I'm younger, maybe perceived inferior too. And yet, Even if I'm so nervous and terrified, I'm still here. I'm still on this stage, speaking my truth. Even Gandhi was a timid and inferior boy before he became a nation's hero. Even the icon who stood up to tanks massacring Tiananmen Square was a common man under an oppressive government. Even though we are given the dirtier side of the track, we still will ourselves to run, and that itself shows us the power of our existence. Each and every one of us is capable of winning. All it takes is a simple action. As simple as picking up a pen, as writing a poem, as simple as speaking up, as simple as showing up, as simple as dreaming. And even though I may be scared, I can still declare to this world that I have a dream. I have a dream that each of us can be this nation's hero. Each of us can stand up to oppression. Each of us can lend a hand to our brothers and sisters, our friends and family, to those who are white, black, Asian, Hispanic, or European, that we can all reach out to each other and run together into a better future, where our individual place is not defined by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. Because if I, a teenage girl, the only Indian in the room, once scared to speak in front of 10 people, can now stand on this stage, honoring the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., it proves that we are the answers we seek, we are the writers of our reality, that we can change this world for the better, as long as we dare to dream. Thank you.
Good morning. For those of you who may not know, my name is Dr. Love Jones. I am the director of the Human Rights Department for the city of Greensboro. I would like to say thank you first to everyone who, again, always counts it a privilege to show up bright and early on what is always proven to be a cold Monday morning to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. King. I also want to acknowledge those elected officials who do the work by way of policy in order to create a space for us to exist in the way that Dr. King dreamed. So thank you to those elected officials who are here. Certainly want to highlight the members of our local city council. Thank you so much for your time and investment in the work of the Human Rights Department. Many people are still learning that there is a such thing as a Human Rights Department. And so it is the work of our city leaders that creates a certain space for us to do the work. Additionally, I want to thank the city manager's office for championing the work that we do, definitely creating an avenue by way of opportunity, both fiscal and otherwise, for us to really be able to push the needle forward for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I would also like to thank the Human Rights Commission that hosts this event every single year, and certainly want to acknowledge the work of the subcommittee for the MLK planning that happens every single year. Some people have been on this committee for almost the entire tenure of my time with the city, which is approaching 10 years. And so it's important to understand that these people spent their time every lunch hour, every midday meeting, sometimes on Zoom while driving, to be active contributors to what this breakfast would look like. So please give them a round of applause. I want to acknowledge our wonderful speaker of the hour, Nikita Green, who spoke from a place of passion and commitment in a way that you could feel from the front row to the back, and so thank you. And of course, acknowledging our everyday champions. Nikita spoke of the reality that we have people doing frontline work every day whose names will never be known in history books, but known locally by those who benefit from the work that they have done. So thank you again for the work that you have committed to. You can only encourage leadership in those who are inspired. And it is important to continue to inspire younger generations. And so I am also thankful to the MLK Committee for being vested in the idea that there would always be multi-generational representation by way of Dudley's Choir, by way of the drum line, by way of having Sanjita as our spoken word artist. Even though Jose now may not identify himself as a young person, I had the pleasure of working with Jose when he was maybe 19 years old, when he took position with the International Advisory Committee. And so it's really important to think about the gravity of having a generational presence at an event like this, because in another 20 years, they will be the ones who fill these seats, who sponsor the tables, etc. So I want to thank the young people who really put their heart into participating today. When you think about the legacy of MLK, when you think about the legacy of the Greensboro Four, as Nikita mentioned, it definitely is about courage, but it's not the courage that we think of. MLK had already reconciled that he wouldn't see his children grow up. Most of us can't even conceive of that. But he had already reconciled his physical body. But what about the way in which he reconciled the courage that it would take and the compromise for his mind? The reality is that what we commit to every day as a legacy to Dr. King is to fall out of love with popularity and fall in love with what is right. Those who stood alongside him didn't even support every strategy. Some of them seemed a little too nuanced. Same with the Greensboro Four. That's why there were only 4, because it was nuance. But every now and again, you have to fall out of love with popularity and fall in love with what's right. And we are very grateful that the people in this room can walk away today being in love with the courage to do what is right, even if it's unpopular. So I encourage you today, as you say some hellos and some goodbyes and you hug and you walk out of the door, that you think about, what is my thing that I'm going to fall in love with that might not be popular, but it will be the right thing to do. And so with that, I bid you farewell on today. Thank you again for being wholeheartedly present in such a critical occasion for our community. There are surveys on the table. We know that you will take this opportunity to tell us what we can improve, what you appreciated, and that is what helps the committee plan this event every year. They literally take the feedback seriously that you offer. So please let that be one of your first steps as a distant committee member to contribute your ideas and your thoughts about today's event.